Just walk us through what we learned vis-a-vis PIF spending targets and how they're looking to fundraise to finance some of those spending objectives.
Good morning. Yeah, well, look, the PIF is facing this huge increase in spending. From next year, spending is going to go up to $70 billion a year. Excuse me. And so that's a 40% increase on what it's spending every year at the moment. So it's going to have to go out and tap a lot more sources of cash. So far, what we've seen over the past few years, the PIF has gone out and has borrowed in its own name. We expect that the PIF, from what we're hearing from sources, is they're going to continue to do that, but they're going to look at new avenues of borrowing. So we'll potentially see new currencies tapped, like euro. They've not gone into the euro market before. Perhaps also a so-called 144A deal, which enables you to market directly onshore to U.S. investors. Another thing that they've not done so far. Also, what we're going to see is these portfolio companies that the PIF has been setting up to invest in new sectors is going to be pushing those to go out and borrow themselves a lot more and to take more debt on their balance sheet rather than expecting cash to come in through PIF. But I think the key thing is the PIF doesn't want to give these companies any sort of credit guarantees and support. It wants them to be bankable on their own terms and not rely on these contingent liabilities that would be built up at the PIF, which could become a problem in the future.
Yeah, let's just go back to the fundraising efforts. Is this mostly going to be centered around debt issuance, or are there other things that they can do in terms of perhaps listing some of the businesses they have created to generate cash?
Yeah, well, as you say, we have seen the PIF in the past. It has gone out and it has taken some of the portfolio companies it's created and listed them on the Saudi Stock Exchange. There's a lot of these companies which are growing, which are not yet profitable, so won't be able to. Obviously, NEOM is a long way away from making money, and so you couldn't list an entity like that. But some of the other companies that they're creating, we expect will come out. We've got in the story, we mentioned 3 or 4 companies, including NUBCO, which is a medical procurement company, the Saudi Ports Company. These are both expected to come to the market this year. And we also expect to see the PIF has around $450 billion stakes in companies already listed in Saudi Arabia. So it can look at getting some of those and selling down some of those stakes on the market as a way to raise money in entities like STC, Tadawul, Saudi National Bank. These are all other strings that the PIF can pull to try and raise some money. The challenge with that, of course, is going to be the markets are wobbling at the moment. How much you can really go out and start to, sell more of these companies at a time when valuations are coming down, I think will be a challenge.
Matthew, just very briefly, who are the most important people at PIF leading these fundraising efforts?
Yeah, well, look, I think the two key figures really that people need to be aware of and watch out for is number one, Fahad Al Saif, who is sort of in charge of the corporate finance and strategy group. That looks after all of these bond sales by both by the PIF itself and by all of these hundreds of subsidiaries. And then on the equity side, you have Iyas Al Dusuri, who is running this capital recycling and IPO program.